Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I've got your gameplay for a very interesting vehicle, at least in my opinion, the Q-5A. That's right, this is a currently rank 6 battle rating 9.0 strike aircraft in the Chinese Air Force's tech tree, and is a very interesting vehicle for a few reasons, but I would say, most importantly, this thing is 9.0 BR and has 18 countermeasures. Yeah, that's right. This has 18 countermeasures, whereas other vehicles, the Q5 early, which is not only weaker in terms of overall thrust, so this can actually move around 130 kilometers per hour slower, and has like 10 to 15% less thrust than the Q5A, but it's the same BR and has no countermeasures, plus also substantially worse secondary armament, and the Q5L, which is 9.7 BR, which admittedly has a bit better close air support armament, but it has no countermeasures. Figure me that, but you have the Q-5A, which is pretty much immune to any of the missiles that it will fight. So that being said, let's get into a few matches. I'm going to be using this thing pretty much as a fighter, so I'm going to get rid of the bombs and all that. Maybe I'll take it out for some CAS or base hunting a little bit later in the video, but the first few matches will be used as a fighter. That being said, let's take this beast into a few matches. Let's get into it. So if you guys didn't know, this aircraft is pretty much just a Chinese strike variant of a MiG-19. So pretty much from, I would say, around where the wing roots start, so around where the cannons are, all the way back, that's all MiG-19. The main difference here, aside from obvious like structural strengthening on the aircraft itself, like the wings and all that, so it can carry more equipment, more ordnance, is going to be the air intake and also the cockpit. As you can see in the cockpit, it's all in Chinese. Whereas typically, when it comes to a vehicle that's like licensed, not even licensed produced, but rather like exported to another country, it's all in the native tongue, at least in War Thunder. It's all in the native tongue of the country that exported it. So that said, we have an H5 down here. That is a treat and a half. I'm going to go for this guy. Okay, let's go get some shots on target here. If I can. Got the kill, finally. So, like, the thing is with a lot of these bombers, like, especially when you're looking at them dead on, they can be a little thin, and that was kind of the instance there, the case there. So let's just keep on moving on here. Now, one of the big problems, again, with this vehicle is that it isn't all that maneuverable. So, when it comes down to aircraft, you're really best kind of going after strike aircraft in this, right? It's just not equipped to go after things like MiG-15s, and you can certainly get kills against them. Trust me, I've gotten my fair share. However, again, it is just a bit not great in that regard. So let's go ahead and turn over here for this Seahawk, and as you can tell, this thing compresses like a mother near Mach 1, and also these air brakes don't really work all too well. There we go. We got ourselves a second kill here. Not too bad. Really, when it comes to these guns, they can be a bit difficult to aim because they don't have great muzzle velocity. Let's see. Can I get this? Got a third kill. That one was a little bit of a gift, I guess you could say, because he just went right across my lane of fire. I thought he was going to try to head on against me. Luckily not. But most of the fights that you get into with this aircraft, they're down tiers, and even when you're in an up tier, you can do quite well because your speed matches a lot of the vehicles that you'll have in up tiers, if not, you know, exactly, pretty closely. And also, ooh, can I get this? Maybe. I just have to kind of focus a little bit harder on this guy. Got myself an assist at least, and we have ourselves a fourth kill. Very nice. Very nice. So, let's go ahead and just land. I'm assuming that's probably it for this match, but 4 kills, not all too uncommon with this aircraft. I typically get minimum 2 kills per match. I think that's my KD with this thing. But again, even in an up tier, and this is something you might see in this gameplay, we'll have to wait and see, but even in an up tier, because it has those countermeasures, this thing can pick apart A-10s. I mean, it is amazing how good this thing can be at destroying A-10s. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that A-10 players are, they tend to really not be good with A-10s. But it also has to do with the fact you can just flare, and then their AIM-9Ls that they have and they head on with, rather than their guns, you can just shove them off, and then they start turning like, you know, it's always very predictable with them. they start turning, and then you can turn a little bit better than them, you just gun them down. That's how it always is. Anyways, let's get into the next match, see what we could do, but not too bad. 4 kills for the first match. So, because I'm sure some of you guys are curious, let's go ahead and test out what a full load of rockets and other ordnance does to an enemy base. Now, bear in mind, this really doesn't have all too much in the way of ordnance, so as you could tell, it really doesn't do all that much. This is much better versus, let's just say, CAS, right? Like, this is much better versus tanks than enemy bases, but it still does a decent amount of damage. You can get yourself a nice amount of points by doing that. And we have ourselves a final kill. Okay, so that's 5 kills then, and a good amount of points. So that said, now let's get into the final match, or to the second match, rather. 5 kills, none too shabby. Okay, we have ourselves a B-57 down here, and one over there, so we're going to go for both. Hopefully I can get them. I'm assuming I can. This B-57 seems to have backed off a bit. Let's go ahead, hope there's no one behind me, can fire missiles, and there is no one. So, we are now within range to blow this guy to bits. Very nice. And that's probably how you're going to want to use this aircraft, right? This is pretty much, if you're not going to use it as a strike fighter in the beginning of a match in ARB, this is going to be a really good interceptor. It just doesn't have the absolute best cannons for shooting at smaller aircraft like the F-84F, but, you know, I mean, to each their own. So now we're going to go for this Saab 105. Ooh, he's gaining altitude. Very nice. Coming to me. And now he's coming over, and this guy's not that stupid. Got the kill. Awesome. Now, I should be able to make it straight up to that J-32B. He will start descending real soon, which would be very nice. Now, when it comes to this aircraft, I'd say overall, #1 priority, I mean, like, the best way to play this thing, if you are in really anything, a down tier, up tier, but more so a down tier, go ahead and climb. At the beginning of a match, this thing can do it and then some. It is a very good climber. I mean, like, you could, in theory, bring along some rockets and bombs to go use in ARB. Those do work, don't get me wrong, but as you saw in that last match, they're not really a given, right? Like, they don't really give you a ton of everything. So, I will be able to catch up to this J-32B, no problem, in just a few moments. He can't go supersonic. Well, probably can't go supersonic. I mean, I know, in theory, his top speed isn't supersonic, but, of course, mine is. I mean, I guess he could probably break the speed of sound. But he is also a touch more maneuverable than me. Let's go put them air brakes on. And yes, again, I know I had my, whatchamacallits on, 100% my thrust. And here we are still on them. That should have been a kill. And we have the kill steal. Typically, I don't mind if it's a kill, like if it's an assist, but that one, it was like, one more shot and I would have gotten him. That really sucks. That's lousy. Anyways, that said, let's get into the next match, see what we could do, but, yeah, not too bad. I mean, like I said, you can go after, with this aircraft, it excels when it comes to boom and zoom and going after, like, larger enemies. That's what this thing can do, because it's not necessarily maneuverable enough to go after the smaller, more maneuverable enemies, like MiG-15s, like the F-84, for example. Even though that's not that maneuverable, it's just maneuverable enough where it could give you some issues. But that being said, let's get into another match, see what we could do, but thus far, not too shabby-dabby-dabby. I'm really surprised it didn't kill the light pillbox. Typically it does. So I'm not sure if you guys have noticed thus far, but there have been, I have not seen a complete up tier thus far. And probably like the 5 or 6 matches I've played trying to get gameplay for this thing, there have yet been any up tiers, which is just, I don't know if I've seen that. I've played a few dozen matches with the A5 or the Q-5A, and not a single one. It doesn't really matter to me all too much because you get bombers, which are a ton of fun in my opinion, to fight against. And again, that's kind of like what this thing is good at going after. But it does still kind of suck a little bit, because I do like going after... well, at least I got that. I do like going after, of course, you know, other aircraft as well. So let's see. Ooh, we have an A4B. This is nice. But he is trying to maneuver himself into the ground here. Brilliant players! I don't know what it is, but it's like playing the A4 just like... It makes people go cuckoo, especially the A4E. It's just not a very good aircraft for a lot of people. I personally love it. But I find that you have a lot of people who get very silly with it. Might be oh, wow. Oh, I gotta say... Really? They gave me the kill for the B-57. But anyways, this is a very good aircraft when it comes to fighting, obviously, some bigger aircraft. But also, you know, I do like going after A-10s and all that. Like, it's just one of the joys of this aircraft because they don't expect it. And again, with the Q-5L, you don't get countermeasures. It's just such a weird thing. Oh, yeah, I got that kill. Very nice. 3 kills real quick. So, again, it's just kind of a weird thing with this. Like, you get countermeasures in the 9.0 BR version, but not in the 9.7 BR version. So, I don't know. I mean, I really like this aircraft, genuinely, because, again, it's pretty much like a heavier, slightly less maneuverable MiG-19 with different cannons. But, you know, it's... I don't know. It also has countermeasures, and that, to me, makes it a lot of fun. Okay, so I decided, you know what, let's go ahead and just play some CAS with this thing, because why not? Like I said before, this thing is probably best in CAS. That's the loadout I have. So let's go ahead and see what we could do. I'm going to go for the C point. Can't really see anyone right yet because I am blind, but I did just drop where I think I saw someone. Got the kill. Very nice. It was only the 234-2. That's it? Really? A basic aircraft? Now, these bombs, the 250 kilogram bombs, they actually weigh less than 250 kilograms, like 230 something, and they only have something like 97 grams of explosive filler, or kilograms rather, which really sucks. Also, those didn't do jack diddly doo-doo to that guy, and I didn't get an assist, really. Those were coming down right on them. So let's go ahead and just drop these bombs. And by the way, this CAS is meant to be relatively quick. Now, we do have an enemy right here. Looks like, hopefully, a good enough target. I'm going to go drop bomb right there. Hopefully, that drops right on him. And we got the kills. An Object 906, not too bad. Turn back up. I'm sure that guy's going to go right into his... into some sort of a close air support killing plane, an SPAA rather, probably the best way to say it. And there we go. We have the enemy right there, and can I get him? Hoping so. Didn't get the kill. Ah, what the farts. So I'm gonna slap on these air brakes. Those look like lightly armored vehicles, and okay, we did some damage to something. Not all that much, though. And here we go. We are getting some SPAA to go against me, finally. Put those flaps on, and there we go. I'm just going to go make a final run at this guy, and we got the kill. Not too bad. 3 kills with it. Those rockets were a lot worse than I had thought, to be quite honest with you. I expected the rockets to do substantially more, and yes, this is my my noob lineup, but I expected the rockets to be substantially better than they actually were, so that kind of sucks. By the way, thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I mean, those rockets aren't bad. You just have to aim them well, and for whatever reason, mine just weren't hitting. But again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone, and Q-5A is really damn good.